Our readings today call us to reflect on the fatherhood of God through all circumstances. The fatherhood of God through all circumstances. And when we reflect on God as Father, as we saw in the Gospel acclamation, we have received a spirit of adoption through which we cry, Abba, Daddy. It's a very intimate term that Jesus uses to describe his loving Heavenly Father. In the responsorial psalm, we sang that the Heavenly Father is merciful and gracious. Interestingly, in the book of Jonah, when Jonah was really upset at the city, he really wanted bad things to happen to the city. And he did it to the point where he took one of the best seats in the house, so to speak, to watch God doing something bad to the city. He's just waiting for God to do that. And here's where God says, have you reason to be angry? Jonah says, I would be better off dead than alive. And it's here that even Jonah affirms that God is gracious and merciful, slow to anger. So even through the midst of tragedy and the worst or good parts of our life, our loving, heavenly, merciful Father is there for us. Of course, we are experiencing a fire a few miles from here, a fire that is seemingly out of control. I have a family friend who was airlifted through a helicopter. His property burned, everything was lost. In Santa Rosa, where I work, a number of buildings were destroyed, a few, maybe 100 yards from my offices. And of course, we have at least 21 people who died and 100 or so that are reported missing. And so if we can remember in prayer the victims, those in Fairfield who are also being warned. And it is the loving, merciful Father's providence that guides us even through this. And he does this through us. My sister-in-law stopped by to pick up some clothing for little kids at the shelters. So if there's anything you can do to reflect the merciful, loving providence of our Heavenly Father, I encourage you to do so. Finally, this is reflected in Jesus' prayer, Father, hallowed be thy name. If God is our loving, merciful Heavenly Father, that makes us brothers and sisters. And that makes Mary our mother. Let us reflect on the loving, merciful providence of our Heavenly Father, who we call through the Spirit, Abba, Daddy.